chocolate.
Now, that ranch in New Mexico.
I'm only selling 2,000 acres.
But we need the whole spread.
Well, take 5,000 head of cattle, and you got yourself a deal.
You're a hard man. Let's drink on it.
Generations of impeccable quality, FOV cognac
Hey, that's perfect.
stands taller than the rest.
Good luck with them cattle. It hasn't rained down there in years.
Cattle? There's oil down there. Didn't you know?
FOV, taller than the rest.
Do you know me? Every time I appear on a talk show, people ask me about my father. Every time I do an interview, people ask me about my father. Every time I pull out the American Express card, people treat me like my father. Come to think of it, that's not so bad.
To apply for the card, look for an application and take one.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it. Hello, Dad? Excuse me.
The Piaget Polo, rugged yet elegant. The Piaget Polo, water-resistant, electronic quartz. Carved from a solid block of 18-karat gold, link by link. Handcrafted in La Côte d'Or, Switzerland, the ultimate sports watch for dynamic people. The Piaget Polo.
Heads are turning to Vitalis. Heads are turning.
Pardon me. Can I give you a lift?
Heads are turning to Vitalis.
Hey!
Heads are turning.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
Today's women are turning to men with shorter hair. That's why more men are turning to Vitalis for that clean-together, younger look. So use Vitalis and start some heads turning.
Excuse me, is the seat taken?
Heads are turning.
Minolta is taking you on a journey into a revolutionary new world. A world of fast, accurate, spot-on photography. Minolta, high-tech in action. An exhibition January 16th to 19th, New World Center Plaza.
Race day is the high point of the week for many. But how do punters decide on their favorite horses? The Hong Kong Connection will be sharing the insight of 4 avid horse racing fans and looking at whose method to pick a winner works best. That's the Hong Kong Connection, Saturday 6 p.m. on ATV.
This is ATV.
Good evening. The Queen has appointed veteran China expert Sir David Wilson as Hong Kong's next governor. Stuart Pallister reports from London.
Finding a replacement for the late Sir Edward Hughes was no easy task. His death in Beijing at the start of December was sudden, and there was no obvious candidate to replace him. But now, ending weeks of speculation, the Foreign Office has announced that Dr. Wilson, or rather Sir David Wilson, as he's also being knighted, is to become the 27th governor of Hong Kong. The wording of the statement is simply that the Queen's pleased to announce his appointment and knighthood. An hour prior to the announcement, Sir David was still remaining silent on the subject as he left his home. He's expected to go to Hong Kong in early April.
The new governor spoke to Hong Kong reporters via satellite. Jane Hutchin was at the news conference.
Sir David outlined his association with Hong Kong and, as diplomatic as ever, played down suggestions that his rank might prove detrimental to his work. He paid tribute to what he called Hong Kong's thriving society and economy.
I plan to take up my new responsibilities in early April. And before then, I shall be starting to brief myself as fully as I possibly can on all aspects of the territory and its administration, and I shall be taking time to meet key people involved with Hong Kong affairs. I know that I have a great deal to learn, both in the weeks ahead and after I've taken up my new responsibilities.
Sir David didn't rule out recent speculation that a post of deputy governor might be created to help him in his first few months. He said Hong Kong has managed to develop its own systems and government in a steady and gradual way to meet changing needs. The government should be flexible, he said, and able to change with the needs of society. And to another issue.
So far as the JLG is concerned, of course I have to now give up my post as senior representative on the British side. No decision has yet been made about who should replace me in that job.
Although most of Sir David's ideas will be reserved until he knows his way around the government, he did have this advice when asked about Hong Kong standing up to the Chinese leadership.
We should all of us make clear publicly what those interests and those perceptions are. And those points have to be made clear sometimes in London. I think they have to be made clear sometimes in Peking.
Hong Kong government officials and China's representatives in the territory have welcomed Sir David's appointment. Mei Chao reports.
A spokesman for the New China News Agency describes Sir David as an old friend of China. He says Sir David leaders believe that Sir David, after taking up his new post, will continue to develop the good relationship between the two sides and ensure the implementation of the joint declaration. Speaking to reporters after the annual inspection of the Correctional Services Department, the acting governor, Sir David Akers-Jones, said he was delighted that a personal friend of his,
a man of great intellectual ability and knowledge of China, and knows Hong Kong well.
David added that the government's reshuffle in the past few days will also help the new governor. Senior Executive Councillor Sir S.Y. Chung said he could not think of any other man who has such a thorough knowledge and experience, not only of Hong Kong affairs, but also of the processes of the Sino-British negotiations.
Sir David's appointment was also welcomed by British officials in London who are associated with Hong Kong. Stuart Pallister spoke to the chairman of the British Hong Kong Parliamentary Group, Sir Peter Blaker.
You have to bear in mind, if I may say so, that Sir Edward Yu came from the Foreign Office. I knew both of them, Edward Yu, and I know Dr. Wilson very well. He was the political advisor in Hong Kong when I was the Foreign Office Minister responsible for Hong Kong a few years back. And I am confident that he will stand up for the people of Hong Kong and for the future of Hong Kong just as vigorously as Sir Edward Yu or any other previous.
And he's confident that Dr. Wilson will be able to cope with the most difficult task ahead, that of handling Hong Kong's political development. Dr. Wilson's appointment as governor is viewed in diplomatic circles as a substantial promotion from the post of an Assistant Under Secretary of State. There had reportedly been a feeling here that he may have been a rank too junior and a few years' role in the Sino-British negotiations on the future of Hong Kong, leading the British team involved in thrashing out bones of the document. The newly appointed governor started his diplomatic career almost 30 years ago, after a period of national service in the Black Watch. He went to Hong Kong as a language student in the early 60s before going on to Beijing, where he eventually became First Secretary. However, he resigned from the Foreign Office in 1968 and was then the editor of a journal called the China Quarterly for 6 years. Dr. Wilson re-entered the diplomatic service in 1974 and was Hong Kong's political advisor